Welcome to another episode of the Godfident Man podcast. I'm your host, Robert Vargas, and today I'm excited because we have one of our special guests returning, and I've got the pleasure of having Mike Elias back on the show. Mike, how's it going?
It's going great. Good to see
Good,
you
brother.
again.
Well,
To
I'm
see you
happy
again.
that you're back on the show, man. And I know that specifically, we wanted to talk about a couple things. You have an event coming up, and for those of you that maybe missed the last episode where Mike shared with us a little bit about the ministry that he's involved in. Mike and his wife Lourdes have been part of ministry for many years. And I know that you have a heart for men and for discipleship and also marriages, right? Helping restore and guide people through challenging times. And so I know that you guys have been pretty busy involved in ministry. So praise God, brother. I'm thankful for guys like you and what you're doing. I know that there's an event that the Moth, the Men of the Hourglass, is hosting that's coming up. For those of you that are in the Palm Beach County vicinity or even surrounding areas, we want to encourage you to learn about this event coming up. It's called Iron Sharpens Iron. Is that right?
That's right.
Yep. And I've got here that's from Proverbs 27, 17. It says, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And, when we think about this, Mike, why do you think that a man listening to this, right, should consider attending an event like this? What might he expect?
Well, Iron Sharpens Iron is the founder is Brian Dole, and he's been around for over 20 years plus doing this ministry. And I came across this organization many years ago where I actually attended one of their conferences, and I was really taken back by not only the organization itself, but how well organized they are. And becoming a partner with them, they take you through a 10-week, just about a 10-week training classes of their expectations and what they hope to accomplish with any ministry that would want to come alongside them. So
Okay.
they don't take it lightly as far as just a men's ministry and anybody can just do a men's ministry. They know how difficult ministry work is. Ministry work is not easy. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of commitment, and you're representing God. The fact that you're representing God, you have to make sure that your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted. And if you're not everybody's called to ministry. And when you are, in James, he tells us that if you are called to, if you do ministry work, you're going to be held to a higher standard. And
That's
not
right.
everybody's called to that.
Yeah.
So Iron Sharpens Iron has a great program. It's a great network of men that come together and they visit the country at many different parts here. They're really active up in the northeastern corridor of America. And I reached out to Brian and I asked them that our ministry was interested in hosting an Iron Sharpens Iron men's conference. What is it that they do? Iron Sharpens Iron, they come in with about 6 to 8 speakers that fly themselves in and they set themselves up in a hotel and they're here to basically help all local churches.
Okay.
So not only are they here to help the men of the hourglass in making us stronger, better, and more effective, but actually help all the local churches that will be willing to come and learn about the different seminars that they're going to offer.
Okay.
I'll give you a list of seminars that we're going to be having on March 8th. These are the things that the local speakers are going to be talking about, and they're breakout sessions. We'll have a main speaker, and then we're going to have breakout sessions. It's a one-day event. It starts at 8:30 in the morning, and it goes till 2:55 in the afternoon.
Okay.
And some of the sessions, these are the sessions that we're going to be covering. We're going to be covering avoiding adultery, becoming a spiritual father, encouragement and accountability, getting and keeping men connected, how men secure their local church, marriage and family, and man's first ministry, standing strong and staying steady, the difference between men and women, the 4 pillars of leadership, what is a man, what's your why? That's a big one. What's your why?
Yeah.
And then Lastly is your adult children are still your children.
Mm.
So the invitation to all the local churches is a conference that covers all of these topics, and the men of those churches and their congregations are going to benefit and help the churches grow within our municipality or our region per se. We
Right.
believe that attending this conference would benefit not only the membership, but provide valuable insight for all the leaders. And the knowledge is key, right? If we're confident, or in your case, confident, right?
Mhm.
That's the topics discussed and will positively impact the church community. So we hope that, as this message gets out, it can promote not only the local churches that are within our sphere of influence or within our vicinities, but also the local communities. So we're opening our doors to this event. We're inviting Iron Sharpens Iron to come down and teach us how we can strengthen our ministry, how Men of the Hourglass can take it to the next level,
Yes.
or how the churches that are in the area, how they can take it to the next level. Because as we first started talking in our conversation, ministry is not easy. And not everybody can do ministry or lead ministry. It's not about just connecting with a group of men every week and socializing. We're not called for a social club. And I've learned over the years, I've been doing this now for 20 years. Our ministry has been around for 15 years. And what I've encountered in a lot of men's ministries in different churches and groups is that a lot of guys love getting together. They really do. They like going axe throwing, fishing, golfing, playing off shooting, going on retreats.
Yeah.
And they enjoy all this guy stuff. But that's not what we're called to do. That's not what Jesus told his disciples to do. Jesus told his disciples, and he sent them out in twos, he says, go and make disciples and baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, spreading the good news. What is the good news? The good news is living a sacrificial life, living a Christ-like life. Remember, Jesus Christ gave us an 11th commandment. And a lot of people don't talk about that 11th commandment. He says, a new command I give you, love your neighbor as I have loved you.
Yes.
Why did he give us that 11th commandment? Because he realized just hanging around with his disciples, a lot of them couldn't love themselves. And if we're trying to love our neighbor like we love ourselves and we don't love ourselves, we're not doing a very good job at loving our neighbors.
Wow.
I loved it when Peter, came up and said, how many times am I supposed to
Forgive.
forgive? And he just couldn't believe that Jesus responded 7 times 77. He was like, what are you talking about? He goes, indefinitely, And that's the problem that we have. People, if you do one thing wrong, they want to hold this grudge against you. And Jesus says, love your neighbor as I have loved you, which means sacrificially, dying to self and coming alongside, not in front, not behind, but alongside our brothers and our wives and our family and our children. Sometimes we want to be our children's best friend, or we want to be our wife's best friend, and we want to. It's not about being a best friend. Jesus said, I call you my friend now, but it wasn't that he was putting himself superior to us. He was just saying, I'm going to come alongside you and show you the way. In other words, I'm going to grab you by the hand and walk alongside you and show you the path that I would like you to take. This is what Iron Sharpens Iron is going to do. They're going to come down and they're not going to tell the churches what they need to do. They're not going to tell people, well, you need to do this and do that, or go here or go there. It's not even about that. It's about these seminars that we're going to be talking about that most men struggle with. A lot of men struggle with a lot of these things that we talked about. And
That's right.
And if we can overcome and learn how to tackle these things, we're going to become not only great leaders in the local churches, but great leaders in our homes, in our jobs, right, in our professions.
Yes.
And just be that iron sharpens iron type of man with the confidence, right? Yeah, I love your ministry. You said confidence, right? Because if we have God right here. If we're connected right here, we got that confidence in our so right, the confidence just falls right behind it.
That's right.
Without God being there, we're not going to be confident, and we're not going to be confident, and we're going to be discouraged in a lot of things, especially when things come hard. Because
Yeah.
we're going to have seasons. We're going to have some tough seasons, and when things don't go the way we want them to go or would like them to go, we
Hmm.
can be discouraged. So
That's right.
that's what we're doing. It's March 8th. March 8th. It's just around the corner. It's just a few weeks away. And
Yeah.
we're excited about getting this seminar out for everybody.
Yeah. I like that there's different topics and guys can get plugged in, based on, what they feel is something they need to address or work on, or maybe they feel stuck. Man, I talk to so many guys that are stuck. I meet guys that are, there's no fire. They've sort of settled, and there's a complacency. And I think that is more common than we might assume. So I like that this is taking place. And you mentioned something earlier that really resonates with me, because that's one of those things that I've noticed about men's ministry, where there is a men's ministry, because not all churches have a men's ministry, number one, but where there's a real void of effective men's ministry. For those that do have it, a lot of times all it is an annual event, right? It's not, it might be, like you said, the axe throwing and maybe a few exotic cars, and, or even getting to smash a car. I've been to those too. But then what happens afterwards? You walk out with a piece of bacon and a donut, and that's pretty much the extent of the men's event. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with a little bacon and a donut, but at the end of the day, there's no substance. And we definitely need community. There's a lot of guys that, until stuff hits the fan, you have no idea what they're walking through. So I really like the fact that this is an opportunity to not just train and equip guys, but also guys in leadership, so that they're effective in ministry. And just to go over the dates again, I'm looking here at my notes. It's Saturday, March 8th, right? So it's about a half a day from 8:30
Yes,
to 3 o'clock.
yes, March
And
8th.
perfect. And doors open at 7:30. This is taking place at the First Baptist of Palm Beach Gardens, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. And this is going to be, are these live speakers that are going to be on site, or is this a simulcast?
No, these are speakers that are actually flying in. We got 6 speakers. We got
Okay.
Brian Goll, which is the president of the ministry. He's
Yes.
coming in from Jacksonville, Florida. We got Rex Signer from Richmond, Virginia. Thomas McMillan from New Britain, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Bobby Osby from White Plains, New York.
Yeah.
Joaquin Molina from Miami, Florida, and Vince Scioli from Temecula, California. So
Okay.
these are guys, these are leads, these are people walking the walk. I mean, they travel around, and it's a nice network of men that just dedicate to coaching other men. And
Yes.
I tell you one more thing that's pretty exciting, and if we can share this with those that would be interested in joining us, it's ages 13 and up. So if you have
Okay. So young men too.
yeah,
Like,
if you have anybody that's over the age of 13,
yes.
we encourage fathers to come with their sons. It's a
That's
great
awesome.
experience. It's a great experience for fathers to come alongside with their son
Yeah.
and learn some of these traits and hear some of these seminars
Yeah.
sitting next to your son. Uh, Brothers, uncles, you know, even if you have close friends or cousins or co-workers, teammates,
Yeah.
this is a great opportunity for those that might be involved in sports and athletics. How do we sharpen each other? How do we come
Right.
alongside as a team and
Yeah.
learn some of these things to become a better athlete and become more effective as a team? So
Right.
remember, this day of Iron Sharpens Iron is a day to be able to strengthen every aspect of a man's life.
Yeah.
And those that belong to churches is to strengthen those churches. So another thing that all those churches can also do, if they're interested in coming, is bring their programs, network. In other words, come to the seminar and share what your church does. Invite people to your church. So we're here to open the doors to everybody to network together and give the churches opportunities to meet other men in other churches and maybe learn from what they're doing and learn from these speakers and see how we can help one another to ultimately honor God, his kingdom, and his righteousness.
Amen. No, I love that, and I'm glad that this is coming here to our backyard here in South Florida, Palm Beach Gardens. So I'm looking forward to that, and definitely want to make sure that we put a link so people can register. Uh, where do they register for something like this?
Yeah, so they're going to register. They're going to go to ironsharpensiron.net,
Hmm.
and then they're going to select the conferences, and then they're going to select Palm Beach Gardens.
Got
So
it.
they're going to see a whole list of conferences there that it's being offered throughout the country.
Okay.
But if they're going to be attending ours,
Yes.
they have to select Palm Beach Gardens.
And then is there a cost to attend, Mike?
Yes, it's $59 for groups of 10 or more, early
Okay.
registration.
Okay.
If they wait for the day of the seminar, then it does go up an extra $10. So
Okay.
it'll be
What if
69,
it's
but
less than 10 people?
yeah, it's $69.
$69. But for live speakers with equipping and workshops, breakout sessions, I think that this is a bargain. But even more importantly, there's a lot of things that people commit to, right? And I want to encourage men out there. Commitment is the word that I've adopted for this year. I have a word that I focus on. It's sort of the lens through which I look at my life throughout the course of the next 12 months. And for me, this year was commitment. And when I look at my calendar, does my calendar show me what I'm committed to? Does it reflect what I say I'm committed to? Does my calendar reflect that? When I look at my bank account, right? When I look at that statement and I look at each item, is that reflecting what I am committed to? So when usually the beginning of the year is a good time where people evaluate, well, what do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish? What things do I need to start doing? Things do I need to stop doing? If you're a guy that wants to grow, I love how John Maxwell says that change is inevitable, but growth is optional. Change is going to happen whether you want to or not, but growth is only for those that are going to be filled with purpose and intent. You've got to go get it and do it. And for many people, they say, God, I wish I had more, power and fire in my life. I wish that my marriage would get better. I wish I was a better parent. Lord, I'm praying that XYZ, you fill in the blank. And here's an opportunity for guys to step up and say, well, I'm going to invest my time and be poured into and meet other guys that are also wanting to grow. And this is a good way to build community. So if you're listening to this, I want to encourage you to look into attending this upcoming event, Iron Sharpens Iron, and also inquire about the Moth, Men of the Hourglass. It's a local ministry, right? You're a 501c3 nonprofit. What is the kind of shifting a little bit to the Moth, Mike? Because I know that this has been an organization that you have had for some time. And what would you say is the main goal of the Moth?
Well, the men of the hourglass it's that every man has his hour when he finally gets an understanding of what is your why, right?
Yeah.
Which is one of the seminars it's being facilitated here. What's your why? So
Yeah.
why do I exist? So what's my purpose? Where am I going? Until we don't really question that and wholeheartedly open that spiritual connection, our clock is ticking. Our
Yes.
clock is ticking.
Yeah.
So the purpose of Men of the Hourglass is that hourglass. How long are you going to stay in that upper part of the hourglass wondering why? You
Right.
know, you gotta filter yourself down into that bottom part of the hourglass, which is God's grace, represents
Yes.
God's grace, and fall into His purpose, His plan.
Yes.
So until we don't find our why and our purpose, and we don't tackle all of these things that Iron Sharpens Iron is offering, we're going
Mhm.
to be in that upper part of the hourglass, just spinning our wheels. We'll be like that mouse on the wheel, just running, 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 and not
Yeah.
on. But
Right.
when that power clicks in and you filter yourself through that narrow part of the hourglass, your hour hit, it all comes, you come to a full understanding. And that's the purpose of our ministry, is to help men find their hour. And when they find their hour, not only are they going to become better men, but they're going to
Yes.
become better husbands, better fathers, better leaders, better workers. And teaming up with an organization like Iron Sharpens Iron is definitely a great opportunity for men, not only to learn about these seminars, but learn why these ministries exist.
Yes.
Why do I have Men of the Hour? Why do you have confidence? You know,
Right.
that puts these ministries in our hearts because we believe we have a why and we have a purpose. And
Yes.
it's not necessarily our purpose or our plan, but it's God's plan and God's purpose that He's put it on our hearts. And when we say God used me and we raise that hand and we say God used me,
Yeah.
it's like being in the ocean, right? In the sea, and you're drowning and Peter says, God, and you're reaching out and Jesus reaches down into the water and pulls you out and says, okay, I got you, but now go feed my sheep. You
Right.
know? So we have to be willing to do the work. So be careful. Be careful. If you really want to do ministry work, take work. It's going to take dedication and it's going to
Yeah.
take putting it on the calendar
Yeah.
because you're going to have to give up some things. You're going to
Yeah.
have to give up some important things in your life that sometimes you don't want to. I know I missed a lot of my son's baseball games because I needed to be at a men's event or at a Bible study or teaching a class or facilitating or just doing God's work. When we have our jobs, what do we tell our kids? I'm sorry, I can't go. I have to go to work. So we don't tell our boss, well, I'm sorry, I'm not coming to work today because I got to go to my son's baseball game, or I got to go to his soccer game, or I got to
Yeah.
go to his other event. No, if your boss tells you you got to come in and work, you have to tell your family, I got to go in and work.
Yeah.
So what is it that we're prioritizing, like you said? You know,
Mhm.
what's on our calendar? What's really making important? And if
Yeah.
we really believe that God has a plan for us, for the better good, because that's what he says. For he says, for I know the plans I have for you, not to harm you, but to give you hope in the future. If you
Yes.
really believe that, then we have to wholeheartedly, because the very next verse says, when you seek me wholeheartedly with all your heart, then you will know who I am and you will find me. But
Mm.
times we're not seeking him wholeheartedly. We're just asking him when we want something or when we are just in need of something. And that's not what he
Mhm.
wants.
That's right. Yeah, and Bible also says that to whom much is given, right? Much is required. So
Mm.
it's not for the faint of heart, absolutely. Well, I really appreciate Mike you sharing this with me, and I definitely wanted to make sure that we put it on the show. It's important for us to invest our time, just like we would for anything else, right? If we want to grow spiritually, if we want to grow in our faith, if we want to grow in community, well, here's an opportunity for us to grow. And here's an opportunity to show up, to be part of something, to be ready to learn, right? And I think that it's great that we have these speakers coming in. So I appreciate you and your ministry and what you guys are doing here in South Florida and Palm Beach County, brothers. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have a link to the registration site. We'll go ahead and put that on the YouTube channel. So if you're listening to this on Spotify, any of the podcast platforms, you can go to the website, and I'll have you repeat it one more time.
Yeah, it's ironsharpensiron.net. Ironsharpensiron.net.
Excellent. Okay, so ironsharpensiron.net. And then for those of you that are listening or watching this on YouTube, then you can click on the link that'll be on the comment section for you and the show notes for you to be able to access that. Well, great. Well, listen, I appreciate Mike you coming on. It's always great to talk to you and hear about what the Moth is doing, and awesome event that's coming up here on March 8th. Now, if you have not subscribed to this channel, like and subscribe. If you found value and want to know more about what's happening in the area, more about how you can grow as a God-fearing man, please tune in and leave some comments. Let us know what maybe other topics or episodes you'd like to see on this channel as well. With that, we'll see you in the next one. God bless you. And thank you, Mike. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Roberto. Appreciate you guys too.